Hello, today's weekly wisdom, we are talking about desire. And there's a great quote by someone named Dr. Rob Maldonado, and it is, "We don't create what we desire, we create what we know to be true."
Yeah.
And so let's explain that a little bit.
Yeah, well, this is one of those quotes that it's been said in many different ways, in many different traditions, right? But if you think about desire, it's definitely coming from the ego, right? It's a desire to improve yourself, to fix yourself, to be better, to gain something from the external world. Nothing wrong with those things. But when we think that, we are creating something new from that desire, we're on the wrong track. What we end up creating, in other words, what becomes our destiny, what becomes our life, is what we know to be true about who we are and what our purpose is.
So when we see our results, we have a desire to see our results in life. It's reflecting what we know to be true, not only on a conscious level, but on a deep unconscious level.
Yes. What we mean by knowing something to be true is a much deeper element in the psyche. It's essentially what our assumptions are about who we are and what is the nature of the world.
And this goes beyond, I remember thinking when I was first starting my personal development journey, you can always relate to, if I change my thoughts, I can change my life. If I change, like if I believe in myself, right? I believe in myself. I believe I'm good enough. I believe I can achieve these goals. That's a good first step, but it's not, that belief alone does not create results. So you can believe all you want, you can say those affirmations, but what you get is always what you know to be true. And Carl Jung said, when they asked him, "Do you believe in God?" He goes, "Believe? No, I know." And so when you have a goal, there has to be something within you that has a deep knowing that it's possible. And so how does someone cultivate that?
Yeah.
And it's really beyond just belief. I believe in it, but it is, how do I understand the nature of the world and my relation? Who am I in the world? Am I the ego that's out there trying to move the things in the external and waiting for chances? Or am I the pure consciousness? It's that perspective, right? Where am I? How am I creating? How would I see myself in the ability to create, or know myself in the ability to create my life?
Yeah, that's a good point. So the ego creates this self-concept, right? Which we call the persona. And it's a good self-concept as far as our interaction with others in the world goes. It gives us a way of identifying ourselves and relating to others. But Jung says that's not who we really are. It's a role that we're playing. It's a mask. He calls the persona a mask. Who are we beyond the mask? That's what is known to us as the real. And we are the self. The self, Jung expressed it as the totality of our psyche, meaning both conscious and unconscious. In Eastern philosophy, it is described as pure awareness, our consciousness, essentially. That is who we really are. So can we know something at the self-concept level, at the persona level? Of course, but it's going to be always changing, always transforming, always morphing into other things.
Also very limited, because if you identify as the persona, you see you as separate from the world, and that you don't have a locus of control.
That's right.
Within yourself. The control is always based on chance or variables or being in the right time at the place at the right time.
That's right. So as you examine that temporary self that we call the ego and the persona, or that self-concept, you start to get a sense of who you really are, that pure awareness, that consciousness that lives within you. That is the true self, and that is a true knowing that never changes. So the external is always changing, including our bodies and our personas, but that eternal self-awareness, or the self, the realization of that true self, it's constant. It never changes. It is eternal, constant, immanent everywhere. It is consciousness.
So if you're trying to create something, let's say you want to start a business, or you want to find the great relationship, or you want to earn, get the next promotion or grow your career, and you have that desire, and you believe you can do it, but you're only kind of seeing yourself from that surface concept, that persona trying to do something in the world, and then things don't work out, you will either say it's bad luck, or it's not the right timing, or that's out of my control, and nothing ever good happens to me. And so we react that way. But if we have a deep knowing of who we are, that we are pure consciousness, that we are actually creating from within, we start to see the things that show up. We don't let them freak us out when they don't show up right away. We say, I know this to be true. I know that everything is going to unveil itself for me. And when I first started, a life coach asked me once, who was doing an interview with me, she said, what are your unfulfilled dreams? And I said, I don't have any. And she said, you don't? And I said, no. I said, I have lots of dreams. I just haven't lived into them yet. It was like a certainty that all the things that I want to create are knowing that there's something in me that knew that I can create what I wanted. And that's really a powerful, powerful way. Instead of trying to convince yourself that you're good enough and say affirmations and change negative beliefs into positive self-beliefs, those are okay. I mean, they work, but they don't have that deep transformation as that direct experience of knowing the power that you own in the world and knowing it before you see it. I think that's the key. And you have to study a deeper philosophy about how the world works, how consciousness works, so you can really get to that knowing. Don't you think that would be like the first step?
Yeah, it always begins with self-inquiry. When you start to question, what is the true nature of the mind? What is reality? And those questions then eventually lead you to self-realization.
Yeah. So to say the quote again, we don't create what we desire. We create what we know to be true. So when you look at your life, that's what you believe what you know to be true right now. And so how can you shift that knowing into something bigger and more possibilities for you in your life?